This is John from Programming Knowledge, and in this video, guys, we're going to discuss what is file handling in C. And then I'm going to give you a basic example. We're going to create a program on how to handle files inside our C program. So basically, guys, C files, input or output functions, handle data on our secondary storage devices, such as our hard disk. And C can handle files as stream-oriented data or system-oriented data or binary files. So again, guys, we're going to focus on this. So the first one will be stream-oriented data files, and the second one will be system-oriented data files. Okay, so when we say stream-oriented data files, the data is stored in the same manner as it appears on the screen. Okay, so I hope you can see that. The input output operations like buffering, data conversions take place automatically. While system-oriented data files, the data files are more closely associated with the operating system and data stored in memory without converting into text format. So this is gonna make sense later on when we try to implement our very simple file handling inside our C program. Now, there are 5 major operations that can be performed on files. So this will be, again, I'm just gonna list it here just for you to see, because I think it would be much clearer if you can see all the details, all the things that I'm talking here. So C file operations. So the first one will be creation of a new file. The second will be opening. The third one will be reading. The fourth one will be writing data in a file. And last will be closing a file. So these are the 5 major file operations. The first one is create, again, creation. The second is opening, so we could open an existing file, and then we could read the contents, and then write data into a file. So for example, in your program, you want to save an information, so you could write data into a file. Okay, and then of course, whenever we are opening a file, we need to close it after using it inside our program. Okay, so the steps, there will be steps for us to set up the file operations. So these are the steps for processing a file. So number 1 will be declare a file pointer. So this is important. So we need to declare a file pointer variable, and then this will be our variable that we're going to use whenever we want to work with our files. And then after that one, we need to open a file using fopen method or function. Okay, so after that, we're going to process. This will be number 3. Process the file using the suitable function right here. And number 4 will be close the file using fclose function also. So if we want to work with files inside our C program, we want or we might want to check this steps for processing our files. So we need to declare a file pointer variable, and then we're going to open the file using the fopen function right here, and then process the file using the suitable function. So for example, we want to iterate through the lines inside the file. If you want to save or maybe write information into the file, you can do that here in step 3, meaning you could process the entire content of that particular file. And then right after processing, maybe you need to close the file, or not maybe, you must close the file after closing or after processing it inside our C program. So basically, guys, there are a lot of functions that we could use when we say we're processing a file. So to handle files in C, file input or output functions available in the stdio library are the following. So I'm just gonna list it also here for you to see. So we already discussed the the two functions. The first one will be fopen, and the second one will be fclose. There are also functions such as getC, which means we read a character from a file, and then we also have putC. So this function putC writes a character into a file, and then also we have getW, which means we need to read an integer from a file, and then we also have putW, so write an integer. And we're going to use this later on, this particular functions, okay? So you need to be familiar with this. Again, if you want to read characters from a file, you need to use this getC, and then if you want to write character into a file, you need to use putC, and getW gets the integer, and putW write an integer into a file. And then we also have fprintf. So fprintf prints formatted output into a file, and we also have fscanf, so reads formatted input from a file. We also have fgets right here. So fgets read string of characters from a file, and we also have the next one will be fputs, and then the last one is feof. So fputs write string of characters into a file, and then we also have feof, so it will detect end of file marker in a single file. Okay, now as a sort of example, we're going to implement a simple opening and closing of a file, and maybe writing a specific text or something into our file. So we're gonna do that right here. So at first, we need to remember the steps for processing a file. We need to declare a file pointer. So in order for us to do that, we're going to have to follow this syntax right here. I'm just going to copy and paste it here. File, open. So as I've said, we're going to use this function fopen, and these are the possible parameters that we could use. Okay, so to put it simply, we could use this. We could declare a pointer variable. So fp and then semicolon, and then we're going to use that pointer variable and then use the fopen function right here, and then we could say here file name dot txt, and then another uh, parameter, and then we're going to use here w. So w means that the file is being opened for writing, and if the file does not exist, then there will be new file created. Okay, so um, let's just return 0 for now. Okay, after that we could close our file. Okay, if we open the file, we could also close this. So what we need is to use the fclose function and then pass in the pointer variable, which is fp right here. Okay, and right after opening the file and before closing the file, this is where the processing of the file happens. Processing of the files right here. End of processing. Okay, so inside of processing, we could just simply, if you remember, we have different functions. So get C, put C, um, F, print F. So we're going to use this. So for now, let's just say uh, F, print F. Okay, then open and close, and then semicolon. And inside here, we could specify the pointer variable, which is fp, and then of course um, %s, %s, where is it? %s, there you go, and then hello world. Okay, hello world. There you go. So after this, we could save our file and then build and run. Okay. So for now, we're getting process return 0. It means that the execution of the program is successful. So we're going to try to open the um, file that we have created. And as you can see here, I have my project right here, from documents, code blocks, projects, and then programming knowledge. And then if we try to open this, we can see the text hello world. Okay, so there you have it on how you can write files or write lines of strings into our file by using this simple program right here. We're going to continue working and discussing file handling in C programming. So from the previous tutorial, so actually this is part 2 of the file handling video tutorial. And in the previous tutorial, we discussed the basics of file handling and also discussed the 5 major operations that can be performed on a file. So for example, the creation as the first operation, and then opening, reading, writing, and closing a file. And also we discussed the steps for processing a file. So basically, if you want to handle files inside your C program, you need to declare a file pointer variable as the first step, and then the second step will be opening a file using the fopen function, and then right after that one, process the file. So for example, you want to count the number of lines inside of that particular file, or you want to add something to that file, you can do that. So that's the processes or processing of the file. And then of course closing the file using the fclose function. And from the previous tutorial also, we briefly discussed the different functions that we could use when we are handling files in C. So for example, the get C, the put C, get W, and put W and the other functions. So in this video, guys, I'm just going to show you how you can read the content of a file and display it in your simple program. So we're just going to use this main function right here. So I have here the main.c file, or main.ca file, and then we're just going to use this main function right here just to get the contents of our file. So as you can probably remember from the previous tutorial, we already created a file inside our file system, and let me show you that. Okay, so I have here the file and then file name .text, and it contains the text hello world, as you can see here. So this is written from our C program, and in this video we're going to read this by using also our C program. So in order for us to, again, if you want to handle files in our C, the first step is to declare a pointer variable. So the pointer variable goes like this. So we need to call on this file class and then add the semicolon, or I mean the asterisk or star symbol, as you can see here, and then of course the name of your variable. So I'm just gonna name it file name and then semicolon at the end. So this is our pointer variable. As I've said, this is the first step for handling files in C. We have to declare a pointer variable. And then the next step, since we're getting the content of a file, I just want to assign the content of a file into a single variable. So for example, I'm just going to declare here another variable, car or char ch, or the name of the variable is ch, and then I'm just going to assume the length 100. There you go, and then semicolon. So basically, this particular variable will hold the contents of our file. Okay. Next line will be using the file name variable right here, which is our pointer variable. And then the second step in the process is, of course, open the file by using fopen function. We already used this function from the previous video. So in here, we're just going to specify the name of the file, which is file name.text, as you can see here. So that will be file name.txt, and then we're gonna use the R symbol. Okay, that's basically reading the file name, or I mean the file coming from our file system. And then the next step is, of course, if we want to print the contents of our file, so we're just going to use the printf function right here, and then specify the format specifier %s, because we're going to display character or strings of character here coming from our file, and then comma, and then we discussed the function in the previous tutorial, fgets. Okay, so basically this function read string of characters from a file, and this particular function takes a few parameters. So for example, we're just gonna specify the parameters here. So for example, the variable ch, that's the variable that will hold the contents of our file. And then, so for example, 50, this is the count of characters that we're going to allow to be saved in our char ch variable. And then of course the file name. Okay, And as always, if you are working with file, since we're opening the file here, we need to use also the closing function, which is fclose right here. And then we're going to specify the file name right here. Okay. So for example, the file name, and that's about it. And we can run our program right now. Let's just save this and build and run. So it's going to output hello world. So for example, just to show you a basic example, let's just fill out our file. Hello world. This is a string from a file. So we're just going to test this. So save and let's run again our program. Okay, so as you can see here, hello world, comma, and then this is a string coming from a file, as you can see here. So basically, we successfully read or get the contents of our file name .txt file. Okay, so now there are other operations that you may want to do in your um, file. So for example, you want to like count the number of lines. That's possible. Again, this particular symbol right here is like opening a file in a read mode. Okay, so R, that's basically what we use here. So as I've said, there are also other functions that we could use when trying to handle files in our C program. And of course, fgets is one of them. But there are also, so for example, we have get C. So this reads a character from a file. Okay. We also have get W. So this will be for reading an integer. And we also have fgets. That's what we used here. So fgets reads string string of characters from a file. Okay, and then of course there are other functions that you could use to write. This is writing into the file. So we have put C, put W. So basically, put C writes a character a file, and then put W write an integer to a file, and then we have fprintf for writing, and we also have fputs, okay, to write string of characters into a certain file. So I hope you understand the basics of handling files in C. And of course, as always, if you have questions, you can ask questions in the comment section below, and we will try to answer your queries. And thank you again for watching, guys, and see you in the next video.